We're now on Daf Chav Tes Amud Aleph, and we're up to Umeshacho Bimona V'lo Hispik Lifdoso. So the Bryce is talking now about Pidyon Hegdish. Until now on Chav Ches Amud Beis, we were talking about being Magdish something. Now we want to redeem the Hegdish, and he's basically buying the object back from Hegdish. And what happens is that the Gizbar, who represents Hegdish, gives over the animal, or whatever the object of Hegdish is, over to a person who does a Masechet. So he takes the object and he is Masechet from the Gizbar, Bimona. And it's worth Me'azuz on Mona, V'lo Hispik Lifdoso, Ad she'omed b'masayim. Now, although the Magdish, after making it Hegdish, is now doing a Masechet to get it back from Hegdish, and at that moment in time, when he made the Masechet, the Hegdish was worth Mana, but now, when he was ready to pay up the Mana to Hegdish as a Maisa Pidyon, guess what? The object went up in value, and now it's worth 200 Mana. And therefore, since he hasn't yet done the actual Pidyon and delivered the Damim to Hegdish, meaning to the Gizbar, therefore the Pidyon has not been effectuated. And right now, when he forks over the money, that's when the Pidyon is effectuated. And by now, the object is worth twice its value. It's worth Masayim Zuz. The Gemara asks my timer, why shouldn't the Masechet itself be enough, sufficient to be kona the object at the value of Mea Zuz? And whatever value it increases, that has nothing to do with the Kinyan. He was kona and poda from Hegdish with Masechet. And the Gemara answers, in the Pidyon of a Sada Hegdish and Vayikach of Zayin, the Torah says, "V'nasana kesef v'kamlo." In other words, he's got to give over the kesef. It's only when there's an asinas hakesef, then kama chefetz v'kamlo, and it goes and reverts to the ownership of the podent. But Masechet is not a kinyan, and therefore, since Masechet is not a kinyan, although he made the Masechet, it was valued at 100. But now the value of the object went up and it's worth 200, then he's got to pay the erech b'shas tashlum, b'shas kinyan, of it nasan hakesef v'kamlo, which is now Masayim Zuz. Now there's another way of being poda v'hegdish. Umeshacho b'masayim v'lo hispik lifdoso ad she'omed b'mona nosei masayim. A person comes to be kona the object from Hegdish, and he does a Masechet. At the time of the Masechet, it was worth 200. He hasn't yet paid up the 200. Lo hispik lifdoso. And now, when he's ready to be poda and to pay the damim, guess what? The animal went down in value. Instead of being valued at its original 200, it went down to 100. And here we're going to go l'chumrah, and we're going to set up the value at Shas Mashicha, and that's going to be Masayim. So the Gemara immediately asks my timer. There's an inconsistency here. On the one hand, you're telling me that if the object went up in value, the Mashicha wasn't Kona. On the other hand, you're telling me that if the object of Hegdish goes down in value, then Mashicha is Kona. And he has to pay Kishas HaMashicha, which means the 200 Zuz. And the Gemara answers, we have a rule that when you compare the mechira of Hegdish to a regular mechira to a hedjot, then we cannot allow that to be a more chomer dik halacha with regard to mochel chavero than there is in a mechira of Hegdish. So since in a regular mechira of a hedjot, if the object goes down in value between the Mashicha and the payment of the money, then the Kohen has to pay Kishas HaMashicha, the higher value. And therefore, so too in Hegdish, He's got to pay the higher value of Shas Mashicha. Another possible scenario of Pidyon Hegdesh, Pido b'masayim v'lo hispik l'moshcho ad yomid b'mona. He actually paid Masayim Zuz, full payment to Hegdesh, so the Gizbar Hegdesh, but he hasn't yet made a Mashicha. In the meantime, the value of the Behemo, let's say, went down to a Mana. It was devaluated by 100 Zuz. And the halach is no saying Masayim. Why? Because he already paid the full value of the 200 Zuz. My timer, because the Pasuk says, V'nasana kesef v'kamla. So already within a sinas hakesef of 200 Zuz, he was kona from Hegdesh. And therefore, if it goes down, then it's in his rishus that it went down. Another scenario, Pido b'mona, he was poda a chefetz of Hegdesh with Mea Zuz, and he paid the Mea Zuz to the Hegdesh. But v'lo hispik l'moshcho, he hasn't made a Mashicha ad she'omad b'masayim. Okay, fine. He already paid a full mana, and that was the full value at the time that he paid it. And even if he didn't make a Mashicha, Masha Poda Podu, he doesn't have to add another 100 Zuz. Ain't a nosen el mana. Why? Because v'nosan hakesef v'kamla. Frek the Gemara, Amai. Why doesn't he have to add another Masayim? Because at the time of the Mashiach went up to Masayim. Hachanami, why shouldn't we apply name? We should apply the principle of Shelo Yekoach Ejel Chomer Mihegdesh. Gevaldige Kash. Now we'll try to understand the answer. Otu Hedyot Lav B'Misha Parakoi. If a man sells something at a certain value, but the Mashicha was not yet implemented, and now the value of the object goes up, and the Mocher says, you know what? I want to back down from the deal because you're only willing to pay me the lower value, then guess what? The Mocher gets a Mishapar, he gets a klola, like a whammy, because he's like chozer, he's like withdrawing from his original agreement to settle for the price of a mana. And therefore, even with regard to Hedjot, he's not really able to be chozer and demand the extra mana, and therefore in the case of Hegdish as well, lo yachzer bo. And this leads us to the Mishnah here on Daf Chavtes. Okay then, so let me wish you a great day. Thank you so much.